December 7, 1941. The world watched in shock. The Japanese had attacked Pearl Harbor. The Pacific Fleet was devastated. America was officially at war. In the months following, the Japanese war machine seemed unstoppable. They swept across Southeast Asia with frightening speed. They captured Hong Kong. They invaded the Philippines. The once mighty U.S. Pacific Fleet was reeling. The situation seemed dire. The attack on Pearl Harbor, while devastating, had failed to cripple the American spirit. Instead, it ignited a firestorm of resolve. The U.S. Navy, though wounded, was determined to strike back. The question was, where and how? The answer, it turned out, lay in a small atoll in the vast Pacific Midway Island. Midway, a strategically vital outpost, became a focal point for both sides. For the Japanese, capturing Midway would be another nail in the coffin of American morale. It would also provide a forward base to threaten the U.S. mainland. For the Americans, Midway represented a line in the sand, a place to halt Japan's relentless advance and turn the tide of the war. The stage was set for a clash of titans, a battle that would determine the fate of the Pacific. The world held its breath, unaware that history was about to be written in the skies and waters near a tiny speck of land in the middle of the ocean. Emboldened by their early successes, the Japanese were eager to deliver a decisive blow against the U.S. Navy. Admiral Isoroku Yamamoto, the brilliant but audacious architect of the Pearl Harbor attack, conceived a daring plan. He aimed to lure the remnants of the Pacific Fleet into a trap, a decisive battle near Midway Island. Yamamoto's plan was intricate and relied on deception and surprise. He would feint an attack on the Aleutian Islands, drawing the American fleet north. Meanwhile, the main Japanese force, including 4 aircraft carriers, would lie in wait near Midway. Once the Americans were committed to the north, the Japanese would strike, crushing the unsuspecting enemy fleet. The capture of Midway was central to Yamamoto's strategy. He envisioned it as a forward operating base for his aircraft carriers, extending their reach and tightening the noose around the Hawaiian Islands. With Midway under their control, the Japanese could dictate the terms of engagement in the Pacific. The plan, however, had a fatal flaw. Yamamoto believed the Americans were demoralized and their fleet weakened far more than it actually was. He underestimated the resilience of the American spirit and the ingenuity of the U.S. Navy's codebreakers, who were about to play a pivotal role in turning the tables. Unbeknownst to the Japanese, the Americans held a crucial advantage. They had broken the Japanese naval code, JN-25. In a windowless basement in Pearl Harbor, a dedicated team of codebreakers at Station HYPO toiled tirelessly. Led by the brilliant but unassuming Commander Joseph Rochefort, they painstakingly deciphered intercepted Japanese messages. The work was grueling and pressure-filled. Every intercepted message was a puzzle, each code word a potential clue to Japanese intentions. As the Americans intercepted more and more messages referring to a target designated as AF, Rochefort and his team began to suspect that AF was Midway. To confirm their suspicions, Rochefort devised a clever ruse. He instructed the base at Midway to send a fake message, reporting that their water distillation plant was malfunctioning. Soon after the Americans intercepted a Japanese message, AF was running low on fresh water. The trap was set. The codebreakers at Station HYPO had done the impossible. They had provided Admiral Chester Nimitz, Commander-in-Chief of the Pacific Fleet, with the information he needed to counter the Japanese attack. The element of surprise, so crucial to Yamamoto's plan, was gone. The Americans knew where and when the Japanese were coming. Armed with Rochefort's intelligence, Admiral Nimitz wasted no time. He realized that Midway presented a golden opportunity, a chance to ambush the Japanese fleet. He ordered his available carriers, the USS Enterprise, USS Hornet, and USS Yorktown, recently damaged at the Battle of the Coral Sea but hastily repaired, to a rendezvous point northeast of Midway. The American fleet was outnumbered and outgunned. The Japanese had 4 carriers to the Americans' 3, and their ships were more powerful. But the Americans had the advantage of surprise and a burning desire to avenge Pearl Harbor. On June 4, 1942, the Japanese launched their attack on Midway Island, just as the Americans had anticipated. Japanese bombers pounded the island's defenses. The trap was sprung. What the Japanese didn't know was that American carrier aircraft were already in the air, searching for them. The battle for Midway, a battle that would hinge on split-second decisions and the bravery of individual pilots, had begun. The morning of June 4th was a chaotic ballet of ships, planes, and explosions. Japanese and American aircraft carriers launched wave after wave of attacks. The skies above Midway were filled with the roar of engines and the thunder of anti-aircraft fire. The initial Japanese attacks focused on Midway itself, but the island's defenses, though battered, held. Meanwhile, American torpedo bombers went in low to attack the Japanese fleet but were decimated by enemy fighters. It seemed the tide of battle might be turning in Japan's favor. Then, in a matter of minutes, everything changed. At 10:22 a.m., American dive bombers from the USS Enterprise, led by Lieutenant Commander Wade McCluskey, appeared over the Japanese carriers. The Japanese, caught with their planes refueling and rearming on deck, were completely unprepared. What followed were 5 minutes of sheer carnage. American dive bombers, screaming down from the sky, unleashed a rain of bombs on the vulnerable Japanese carriers. 3 carriers, the Akagi Kaga and Soryu, were engulfed in flames, transformed into infernos of exploding ordnance and burning aviation fuel. The tide of the battle had turned in an instant. The Battle of Midway raged on for another day, with both sides trading blows. A 4th Japanese carrier, the Hiryu, was sunk later that day. However, the damage had been done. The Japanese fleet, once invincible, was in full retreat. Their dream of dominating the Pacific lay in ruins. The victory at Midway came at a high price for both sides. The Americans lost the carrier Yorktown and over 300 men. The Japanese losses were far greater: 4 aircraft carriers, hundreds of aircraft, and over 3,000 men. More importantly, Japan had lost its offensive capability. The strategic initiative in the Pacific had shifted. The Battle of Midway was more than just a military victory. It was a turning point in the Pacific War. It shattered the aura of Japanese invincibility and boosted American morale. It marked the beginning of the long and bloody road to victory in the Pacific. The Battle of Midway, fought over a seemingly insignificant atoll, had far-reaching consequences. It marked the end of Japan's string of victories and the beginning of America's long climb back to dominance in the Pacific. Midway proved the critical importance of intelligence in warfare. The Codebreakers at Station HYPO, working tirelessly behind the scenes, provided the information that allowed the U.S. Navy to anticipate and counter the Japanese attack. Their contribution to the victory at Midway cannot be overstated. The battle also highlighted the bravery and sacrifice of the American sailors and airmen who fought against overwhelming odds. From the pilots who bravely attacked the Japanese fleet to the crews of the ships that withstood the enemy onslaught, Midway was a testament to the courage and determination of the American fighting man. The legacy of Midway extends beyond the realm of military history. It serves as a reminder that even in the darkest of times, when the odds seem insurmountable, courage, ingenuity, and a refusal to give up can turn the tide and alter the course of history. Midway was a victory for the ages, a testament to the indomitable spirit of those who fought for freedom in the vast expanse of the Pacific.